Right now, there is a silent process happening inside many people over the age of 40, and most of them have no idea it's already started in their body. Before you scroll away, I want you to stay with me for just a moment, because what I'm about to share could completely change how you think about your daily health habits. And if you find value in this kind of honest, medically grounded information, take a second right now to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It helps more people see these important warnings before it's too late. Now, let's continue. I'm speaking to you today not as someone trying to scare you, but as a doctor who has seen the same pattern repeat itself for years in clinics and hospitals. People come in thinking they are mostly fine, only to discover that changes in their circulation, cholesterol balance, and artery flexibility have been developing quietly for years. Most people don't realize this, but your arteries don't suddenly become unhealthy overnight. It's a gradual process, a slow buildup influenced by diet, stress, inactivity, and age-related changes in metabolism. And the frustrating part is that the body rarely sends loud warning signals in the beginning. Instead, it whispers. A little fatigue that wasn't there before, slight heaviness in the legs after walking, a feeling of reduced stamina that people often blame on just getting older. But what I've seen too many times is that these subtle signs are often early indicators that blood flow efficiency is changing. And here's where it becomes even more important, because what you consume daily can either support healthy circulation or quietly contribute to stiffness in your arterial system over time. In recent years, researchers have paid closer attention to certain natural dietary fats that may support cardiovascular health. Some oils, when used correctly and consistently as part of a balanced diet, are linked with healthier cholesterol patterns and improved vascular function. But not all fats behave the same way in the body, and this is where confusion often begins for most people. What I want to do in this video is walk you through something simple, practical, and science-informed that you can actually understand and apply without confusion or extremes. Because when it comes to heart and artery health, small daily choices often matter more than dramatic changes done once in a while. And what you're about to learn may challenge what you've believed for years about healthy oils and how they truly interact with your body over time. Now, let's go deeper into what actually happens inside your arteries as we age, and why some people maintain better circulation than others, even at 60 or 70. As we get older, one of the most important changes happening inside the body is related to blood vessel flexibility. Your arteries are not rigid pipes. They are living, responsive structures that expand and contract with each heartbeat. But over time, several factors can reduce that natural elasticity. What I've observed in patients is that this process is often influenced more by long-term lifestyle patterns than by a single cause. Diet, inflammation levels, sleep quality, and even chronic stress all play a role in how smoothly blood flows through your system. Most people don't realize that when blood flow becomes less efficient, the heart has to work slightly harder every single day. It's not dramatic at first. You don't feel it immediately. But over months and years, this added strain can contribute to fatigue, reduced endurance, and sometimes elevated blood pressure. Now here's something very important to understand. Not all fats in your diet affect your arteries the same way. Some dietary fats may contribute to inflammation when consumed excessively or in processed forms, while others are associated with better lipid balance and healthier vascular function when used in moderation. This is where the conversation around natural oils becomes very interesting. In clinical nutrition, we often focus on the quality of fats rather than simply labeling them as good or bad, because the body responds differently depending on how those fats interact with your metabolism. For example, certain plant-based oils contain compounds that are being studied for their potential role in supporting endothelial health, the thin inner lining of your blood vessels. When this lining functions well, circulation tends to be smoother and more efficient. But I want to be very clear here. No single oil is a magic solution. The idea is not to clean arteries overnight, but to support your body's natural processes over time through consistent, healthy dietary choices. I've seen patients become overwhelmed when they hear conflicting advice online. One source says, avoid all fats, another says, consume more fats, and the result is confusion. But the real answer lies in balance, quality, and consistency. And this is exactly why understanding what you put in your kitchen every day matters more than most people think. Because those small decisions, repeated over years, are what shape your long-term cardiovascular health. In the next part, we'll look at how specific dietary patterns influence circulation and why some people maintain strong heart health well into their later years, while others struggle much earlier than expected. When I look at long-term heart health, one pattern becomes very clear. People who maintain better circulation in their later years are rarely relying on a single secret. Instead, they tend to follow consistent dietary habits that support the entire cardiovascular system as a whole. One of the most important aspects is how the body handles inflammation. Low-grade inflammation doesn't cause immediate pain, which is why it often goes unnoticed. But over time, it can influence how blood vessels function and how smoothly blood travels through the body. This is where nutrition plays a supportive role. Certain dietary patterns, especially those rich in plant-based foods and healthy fats, are associated in research with improved cardiovascular markers. These include healthier cholesterol ratios and better vascular responsiveness. Now let's talk about something I often explain to patients in a simple way. Imagine your arteries like flexible pathways. When they are healthy, blood moves freely and efficiently. But when they are under chronic stress, whether from diet, smoking, or long-term metabolic imbalance, they can gradually lose that flexibility. This is not something that happens in a single moment. It develops slowly, often over years. That's why many people are surprised when they are told they have early signs of vascular changes, even though they feel mostly fine. One of the key supportive elements in heart-healthy diets is the inclusion of unsaturated fats, especially those found in plant-based sources. These fats are being studied for their potential role in maintaining normal cholesterol levels and supporting overall cardiovascular function when used as part of a balanced diet. But I want to emphasize something important again. It's not about focusing on one ingredient in isolation. It's about the overall pattern of eating. The body responds to consistency, not extremes. I've seen people try to fix their health with one sudden dietary change, only to become frustrated when results are not immediate. But cardiovascular health doesn't work like that. It is gradual, steady, and deeply connected to long-term habits. What I want you to start thinking about is not just what you are eating today, but what your body is experiencing over months and years. Because your arteries reflect your lifestyle history, not just your last meal. And as we move forward, I want to show you how simple daily choices, especially related to cooking fats and oils, can either support or challenge this delicate system over time. Let's talk more directly about something most people use every single day without thinking twice: cooking oil. In my clinical experience, this is one of the most overlooked parts of cardiovascular health. People often focus on reducing sugar or salt, but forget that the type of fat they cook with daily can influence long-term metabolic balance as well. Now, I want to be very careful here and stay grounded in science. No oil can clean your arteries in a literal sense. That's not how the human body works. However, certain dietary fats are associated in research with supporting healthier lipid profiles and maintaining normal inflammatory responses in the body. For example, plant-based oils rich in monounsaturated fats have been widely studied in relation to heart health. These fats are considered more stable and are often included in dietary patterns linked with better cardiovascular outcomes. But here is what I see happening very often. People switch oils randomly without understanding quantity, balance, or overall diet quality. They believe one change will solve everything, while the rest of their lifestyle remains the same. The truth is much more nuanced. Your arteries respond to a combination of factors: what you eat, how active you are, how well you sleep, and how your body manages stress. Oil is just one part of a much larger picture. What matters more is consistency in healthy choices. Using better quality fats in moderation, combining them with whole foods, and avoiding heavily processed dietary patterns tends to support better long-term outcomes. I've had patients in their 60s and 70s who maintain surprisingly good energy and circulation, not because of one miracle ingredient, but because they have followed balanced habits for years. They cook simply, eat more naturally, and avoid extremes. And something else I want you to understand is that your body is always responding to patterns, not isolated actions. One healthy meal doesn't change your arteries overnight, just as one unhealthy meal doesn't damage them instantly. It is the repetition that matters. So instead of searching for quick fixes, the focus should shift towards sustainable choices that your body can benefit from over time. And in the next section, I want to explain how blood flow itself changes with age and what subtle signs you should never ignore. Blood flow is one of those things we rarely think about until something starts to feel different. Many of my patients describe it in very subtle ways. They might say, "I don't have the same energy I used to," or "I get tired faster when walking." These changes are often gradual, which makes them easy to dismiss. But from a medical perspective, they can sometimes reflect shifts in circulation efficiency. As we age, the elasticity of blood vessels can gradually decrease. This doesn't mean something is suddenly wrong. It is a natural part of aging. However, lifestyle factors can either support or accelerate this process. When circulation becomes less efficient, oxygen and nutrients may not reach tissues as quickly as before. That's when people start noticing changes in stamina, recovery time, and overall vitality. Now, here's something important. The body is very adaptable. Even small improvements in diet and activity can positively influence circulation over time. This is why prevention is always more powerful than correction after the fact. In terms of nutrition, dietary fats play a supporting role in maintaining healthy cell function and vascular balance. Research continues to explore how different types of fats influence cholesterol transport and arterial health. But I always remind my patients, focus on patterns, not perfection. Your body does not require extreme restrictions. It responds better to steady, balanced habits that are maintained over time. I've seen individuals dramatically improve their energy simply by making consistent dietary adjustments and staying active. Not overnight, but gradually, as the body adapts. What I want you to take away from this is awareness. Not fear, not panic, awareness. Because the earlier you notice subtle changes in your body, the more options you have to support your health naturally and effectively. And as we move into the next part, I want to connect everything we've discussed so far into practical understanding so you can see how small daily habits truly shape long-term cardiovascular wellness. By now, you might be realizing something important. Heart and artery health is not about one dramatic change, but about many small decisions repeated over time. This is where most people either gain control of their health or slowly lose it without noticing. One of the most powerful factors in long-term cardiovascular wellness is consistency. Consistency in movement, consistency in sleep, and consistency in dietary habits that support rather than strain the body. When I speak with patients who have maintained good circulation into older age, they often share a similar pattern. They don't follow extreme diets. They don't rely on trends. Instead, they focus on simple, balanced eating and regular activity. They also tend to use cooking methods and ingredients that are closer to natural forms, rather than heavily processed alternatives. Now, I want to bring attention again to dietary fats. The reason they are so important is because they are a fundamental part of every cell in your body. They influence how cells communicate, how inflammation is regulated, and how energy is stored and used. This is why choosing higher quality fats and using them in moderation can support overall metabolic and cardiovascular balance. But I want to be very clear. This is not about eliminating entire food groups or chasing perfection. It is about supporting your body in a sustainable way. I've seen too many people become overwhelmed by conflicting advice online. One day, something is good. The next day, it is bad. This confusion leads to inconsistency, and inconsistency is what the body struggles with most. Instead, what works best is simplicity. Real food, balanced meals, and steady habits that you can maintain for years, not weeks. Your arteries are not separate from your lifestyle. They reflect it. Every meal, every walk, every hour of sleep contributes to the bigger picture of your cardiovascular health. And now, in the final part of this video, I want to bring everything together and leave you with a clear, calm understanding of what truly matters for your long-term heart health. If you've stayed with me this far, then you now understand something very important. Your heart and arteries are constantly responding to your daily choices, even when you don't feel it happening. And that is actually both a responsibility and a reassurance, because it means you are not powerless. Small, consistent improvements in your lifestyle can support your cardiovascular system over time. You don't need extremes. You don't need fear-based decisions. What you need is awareness and steady care. Many people focus on finding a single solution, one oil, one diet, one supplement, but real health doesn't work that way. Your body is complex, and it responds best to balanced support from multiple healthy habits. When it comes to dietary fats, the goal is not elimination. It is smarter selection and moderation. Choosing higher quality sources, using them thoughtfully, and combining them with a diet rich in whole foods can contribute to better overall cardiovascular balance. I've seen individuals in their later years maintain strong vitality simply because they respected their body over time. They didn't wait for a warning sign to take action. They built habits early and stayed consistent. And if you are watching this and thinking, I wish I had known this earlier, I want you to know something very important. You still can make meaningful changes today. The body continues to respond at every stage of life. Even small steps matter. A better cooking choice, a daily walk, a more mindful approach to meals. These are not insignificant. They are the foundation of long-term health. My hope is that you leave this video not feeling anxious, but informed and empowered, because the goal is not to fear your body, but to understand it. And when you understand it, you can take care of it in a way that supports your health, your energy, and your future for years to come.